broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Sound familiar to you? Yes, that's right. Rascal Flatts, Take Me There, in 2007. We're going to talk about why that's important with our guest today a little bit. Welcome to Spotlight On, a series where we actually take someone, we spotlight them. And I'm going to do that today. I'm your host, James Lott Jr. You can follow me at Black Hope LA. It's BLAKHOPELA. I couldn't get the C for some weird reason. And you can also follow me on my Facebook page, James Lott Jr., for all the kinds of goodies and things on there. Now, my guest today is someone who's busy. He is a working actor. He is on TV in shows like Criminal Minds. He's on commercials. I saw him on 2 commercials this week. He's also on an Emmy-winning web series called Emma Approved. And he just did a movie, the upcoming LBJ biopic with Rob Reiner, playing Ted Sorensen.
Yes.
Yeah. Brent Bailey.
Hey, hello.
How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, of course.
So you guys, you can follow us right now on YouTube at AfterBuzz TV. I posted links on everything. He posted links on his. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter. Well, everything's just Brent M. Bailey. So
Right.
Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, well, all the different
All the
things.
different.
Yeah, all the different. Facebook, it's actually the same thing. So it's all at Brent M. Bailey.
Tell them everything. Everybody just follow everything.
Yeah, just follow everything.
We're on there. Comment, rate us, tell me what you think. Also on my Facebook page, I have posted some things about him, and on my Twitter too, so you can follow more about him after our discussion and continue to see what Brett is doing.
Yeah.
Of course. And of course, we're on SoundCloud and iTunes. So we're everywhere. And this interview will be everywhere afterwards too.
Taking over the world.
Yeah, that's my plan. I'm building my empire. I'm trying to, my own empire.
I love it.
I love it. So, okay, I have to tell you, when I was doing my research on you, I had a TV on. And I was just kind of like watching TV, and I was kind of just flipping through some channels or whatever. And I saw you, I swear to God, in a 2-hour span, I saw you in 2 commercials, 2 different commercials. And then I saw your Criminal Mind episode was on.
No way, really?
Okay, no, wait, now you know.
Oh, that's like a trifecta.
Now you know Criminal Minds is on like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it seems
is,
like.
but that show's been on for how many years?
I
It's
know.
amazing that my one episode was on while you were watching. That's just like fate.
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
And I was just like, really? I want to see him 3 times, really? In like 2 hours?
You're like, I don't even want to interview you. No.
I know enough now.
Yeah.
So, you're literally living the dream.
Yeah. It's been absolutely incredible. Very busy to the point where I've had to turn down quite a few jobs, which is never fun to do.
Embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, but it's a great problem to have.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been really good.
But no, and when I start seeing your face, I was like, I do recognize you in things.
That's the funny thing is, I've been working pretty consistently for a while now, but it wasn't until really Emma Approved was a great show for me because it built a fan base that actually recognized me, and then all of a sudden they were like, oh my gosh, like you're on every commercial. And so now it's fun because I'll get little tweets being like, I saw you here and I saw you there, and it's like, yeah, it's crazy. But I think I shot 15 commercials last year. I've shot 8 this year. I shot 12 the year before.
So you're rich. The checks are just coming in, aren't they? There's all the commercials. See, I always say about commercials. You're like super rich, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Just kidding, kids. Yeah. But commercials are good. Good.
Yes.
They're good to do.
Yeah, they're great.
And you have that kind of face. It's like you could do many different kinds of commercials.
Yeah.
Which I guess is working to your advantage.
Yeah, and then I also look very different. Sometimes it's even hard for like my parents to be like, I'm pretty sure that's him, but because I like with the beard, I look different. Without the beard, I look different. And then depending on like what the product is and how they have me dressed up, like Clorox, I'm clean shaven in a little blue polo.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden for like the commercial I just did with my girlfriend Joanna.
I saw you bring it up. Good, you brought it up. I was going to bring it up. Yes.
For Ever Us, I've got the beard and I look totally different.
Yeah.
So it just depends on like what look they go for.
You said you also bring that up. You did a commercial with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
So how did that work out where you guys got to work together?
So my amazing commercial agents, I'm with Abrams commercially, and they called me up and they said, hey, listen, coincidentally, this casting is for a mixed Japanese girl and a Caucasian guy, and they want a real couple. And she's like, will you and your girlfriend go? And I was like, yeah, of course. I met her working, so I'd love to work with her.
Oh, fun.
So we auditioned. We auditioned for the commercial together, and we ended up being the only couple that actually booked it. The rest of the people were strangers. But they just loved it. They were like, yeah, you guys are like the real deal, and it seems very natural. And it was just kind of like an easy job to book, because I mean, we literally are exactly what they were looking for.
That is crazy.
Which is great. Yeah, it's great.
How is it? Have you guys ever acted before together?
Well, that's how we met. We met on Emma Approved.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we first met at the chemistry read.
Chemistry read. Okay, yes.
Yeah. And then we actually they did B-roll of that commercial, the Everest commercial that's on YouTube.
Oh, have to look that up.
And it actually like goes back and it talks about like our whole love story and like how we met and everything.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so we actually met on the show that we won the Emmy for.
Yeah, the Emmy for it. And I mean, I think you're on an Emmy show. I mean, web series are like they're in. Obviously, I'm on the internet too. This is on the internet.
Yeah.
It's not even the future anymore. It's now.
Definitely. Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little more about each of those different projects there. Cool. But I just want to ask you, because you went to school and got a master's in business.
I did.
So
I like the like.
I'm like, master's in business,
Why?
And you're an actor.
Yeah, what happened?
Or for me, I was going to ask you is, has that training, education informed how you go through this business?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, my bachelor's is in computers, actually. I was a computer programmer.
Oh, my God.
And then I kind of hit, like, a little bit of a quarter-life crisis, and I was like, I'm not as happy as I think I should be. And so I decided to just kind of turn my world upside down and try something new.
Yeah.
And one of my really good buddies, his name's Harley J., he lived out here. And so I was like, listen, man, I'm going to come crash on your couch for 6 months and just give this whole thing a try.
Wow.
And then the first time I was on set, I was like, this is it. Like, this is what makes me happy. This is what's exciting. And this is what I'm going to keep doing. And it's not like at the beginning it was easy. I mean, the first 5 years, because I'd never acted. I'd never taken acting.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. So I came out here knowing nothing, just being like the most green actor you could ever be. And so I was like, well, I got to pay the bills somehow. So I got a job at Blockbuster, because I was like, what better resource?
Blockbuster.
Which we all miss Blockbuster Video.
Video stores. What are those? Video stores.
It's actually really sad.
And
that was a fun job, because I got to interact with people.
Sure.
I got to watch the movies. I got to learn about the actors. And so it was really beneficial, because it was almost my little like library to the industry.
Makes sense. Yes.
And then thankfully, I've been out here for almost 11 years now, but after 5 years, I started making enough money to where I didn't have to have a job anymore. I was just acting full time, and it's been that way for the last like 5.5 to 6 years.
Now, I want to. You said something that's really interesting. Is I'm a person who I changed my life, my whole life 7 years ago. I did the same thing. I just changed professions, changed locations, everything. For you, you said you decided to just all of a sudden say, I'm going to go. How did that process work? How did you decide I'm going to not do the computers or the business? I'm going to do acting.
I mean, the sort of depressing side of it is that, like, it was one of those things where I knew I wasn't happy, but there was, like, that tipping point. There's a great book, The Tipping Point. There was that one moment in time where I found out my ex-girlfriend was getting married. And it was like, as soon as that news came across the table, I was like, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm going far away. And so, granted, Arizona to California is not exactly far away.
I know it's not like New York or anything, but yes.
It's far enough away to where I was like getting away and starting fresh, but still a safe distance so I could come back and see my family. And so for me, it was just that moment. And I had just gotten a brand new job that I'd fought so hard for.
Oh my goodness.
And it was one of those things where I was like, you know what? Like, it's time to change. And so I quit that job that weekend.
Wow.
And then I owned a house in Arizona, and so I had to like find tenants and stuff, and so I was like, well, in the meantime, I'll save up a little bit of money. So I got a job at Outback Steakhouse, and and I was like working there, and then I thought like for sure I could work there for like a month or two, and then I'd transfer to California and work there. But then they were like, wait a second, you can't just pick and choose which Outback you're going to work at. So I was like,
you could now.
Yeah, well, that'd be awesome. Back to the Outback.
Back to the Outback.
That was the problem with Outback Steakhouse is I love their food and their mac and cheese, and so every time I worked there, my whole paycheck just went to I got a steak and a mac and cheese, and it was not very beneficial for my income.
That's right. But I mean, the thing is, like because you said you didn't really know what were some of your first steps in California? I mean, like when you got to LA, you're like, I'm on my friend's couch, I'm here, it's beautiful, it's sunny, I'm in LA.
I started off doing background work because I was like,
we all do.
I was like, background work's easy money. Yeah. It's not a real big commitment, and I was like, what better place to learn about the business than to be on set? And so I just kind of like stayed quiet and stayed in the background and like watched and learned and saw how like what you learn so much like technical stuff like hitting your mark or like when the like speeding, rolling, cut, blah, like I mean all like the stuff that you would have to actually go to school or read a book that's like is specifically for on-set terminology.
Yeah.
And so you get like firsthand experience of that. And so I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So I lived on that couch for the first 6 months.
How fun. Okay.
And then we finally upgraded me to the kitchen. We took away the kitchen table and we put a bed in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
Yep. And then finally, after 1 year, I upgraded to my very first bedroom in California.
Oh, that's so...
Yeah.
like that in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Do you remember what first shows you worked on as background? Or any some of the early
Accepted.
ones?
With Justin Hall.
Yeah.
It was my very, very first job.
Oh, wow.
And so I got a job on Accepted. And it's funny because like as you start your career and even as it progresses, you're so excited about that one thing. So I called my parents and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on a major motion picture. I'm going to be in the audience. And I show up and then, of course, there's like 350 people. And they're like, you're going to be in this section. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to be on camera? Am I going to be on? And I was like sitting there so excited. And yeah, I just ate it up. And then my first job that I actually booked was the Rascal Flatts job.
Yeah, so we played the song in the beginning.
Yeah.
So the song that was a #1 hit for them, actually.
Yeah, they won the music video year of the
CMA, or CMT, I think it was. Yes.
Music video of the award, group music video.
Yeah. So you did a video.
Yeah.
And I mean, so how was that process of auditioning? Was it like a regular acting up audition, or was it?
Yeah. It was on a couple different acting websites that I would go. We didn't have. I feel like this is such a sad story, but we didn't have internet at the house.
Yeah,
so,
no, that's okay.
So every day we'd go. One of my buddies, Harley, worked at Panera Bread, and so they had free Wi-Fi. So we'd go there and we'd submit on like Actors Access and all those different websites and LA Casting, and so LA Casting. They got me that audition for the Rascal Flatts music video, and so I was like, great.
Did you know their music? Did you know that? They were big. Okay.
Yeah, I loved them. I was a huge Rascal Flatts fan. And so I got the audition. It was just a regular audition. You walk in, and they set up this little thing with a fake steering wheel, and you're supposed to be driving. And it's funny because then it never ends up being that way.
Right.
She ends up driving me in the video.
Yes.
But and then we did the little chemistry read on the callback, and it was just like they booked the job, and I was super excited. And it was just such a wonderful experience.
So it was a really good experience.
Yeah.
And did you get to meet them, like talk to them, or were you like?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
They, I mean, the one day we were shooting, it wasn't with them. And then when they break out into that scene where it's like there's like a giant aerial shot from a helicopter where we're at the party and they're singing amongst us, we got to see them that day.
Oh, good.
And they were all so nice.
I'm sure
and, like, so genuine and so down to earth, which is surprising because they have been around forever. And
yes, they're huge. They're huge.
Yeah, so they were great. And then like all the guys, like Sean Silva was the director. He was amazing.
Okay.
They were all just so supportive. And I was trying to not let it be known that it was my first job because I didn't want them to be nervous. But I was just like, yeah, I do this all the time. It's fine. Don't worry about me. But internally, I was freaking out.
But now you're being played on all the country music stations. I mean, like, that must have been really interesting because it's not just a one-time job. It's like
Well, that part was cool, but they also invited us to the concert because there was a concert shortly after we shot, and so then I got to go to the concert, and they played it on the big screen at the concert.
Oh my god!
So it was like it was amazing. I was just blown away. I was like, look at this! Like I am on TV in front of all of these people, and I'm standing. Like it was very surreal.
I'm sure. No, I'm sure.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of just like, wow, that's me.
Yeah.
Oh my god! That's great. I mean, it's funny because you bring up a good point that the entrance into this business could be anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know what it's going to be.
I mean, sometimes we have ideas like, well, I want to come in, I'm going to get a TV show and that, but it may be something else first that leads you to the dots connect and leads you to actual TV show. So you were on the couch, you were in the kitchen, you got your own bedroom. You feel like you made it.
I did, yeah. As soon as I had that bedroom, I was like, the life is made.
Now you had your own car and stuff, obviously you were able to get around and go to auditions and stuff.
I did. Yeah.
You won one of those stories like I was on the bus and I was like,
no. I had a car and a motorcycle.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. But did you, when you got here, what did you find for you that was a little frustrating when you first started? Because you didn't really know much when you got here. What did you start seeing when you first started?
I mean, like in terms of acting?
Yeah.
I think the most frustrating part, especially at the beginning, is that you know that you're capable of doing these great things. It's just you got to get in front of the right people. But to get in front of the right people, you have to have already done great things. So it's like that catch-22 of like, you really want an agent. But then the agent's like, well, you don't have any credits. And you're like, well, how do I get those credits? And they're like, well, you have to go get some jobs. And you're like, but I need you to get me the jobs.
Yes, I remember that.
So it's like a real big catch-22. And then, but I mean, there are different ways where you can work your way up and do like the student films, and you kind of do the stepping stones, and then eventually you get to the point where there are agents saying like, hey, do you have representation? Because I'd like to represent you. And then that's a great feeling of accomplishment because you're like, finally, the tables have turned a little bit. So I think that was a frustrating process. And then I think also at the beginning I didn't understand how long stuff takes, and so I would shoot like the Rascal Flatts music video, or I'd shoot a commercial, and I'd be like, when is it going to come out? And they'd be like, well, maybe next year. And you're like, what do you mean next year? That's so far away. I need my instant gratification. And yeah, that was like a real big adjustment. And sometimes you never see it. Sometimes it never comes out.
Right.
I mean, I've done a handful of commercials.
Have you really?
That have been like, they got scrapped.
So you shot them, got paid for them, and just...
I was on an episode of Californication, and I was so excited. And they ended up cutting the whole scene because the episode was too long.
You meet David Duchovny? Were you with him?
I was with Dave. I was with the whole family.
Oh, were you really?
It was like the family was. I bumped my mic.
Yes.
I was we were out to lunch. It was on the beach, and it was actually I shot it right over my birthday, and so I was like with my whole family because they were down in Huntington Beach. And I was like, I have to go leave to shoot Californication. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, guys.
I'm sorry.
A show on HBO. Sorry. Right.
But it's like a scene where David Duchovny is with his wife and his daughter, and I'm supposed to be this guy that just walks up and I'm like, oh my god, like you're Hank Moody, and he's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, no, I think you're like an amazing writer. And then he turns, he's like, oh, all right, then yeah, I am Hank Moody.
It sounds like him on the show.
Can I get a picture with you guys? And then we take a picture, and then like his wife comes and says like, well, will you take a picture of us? And then we turn around, we do a picture of them. So it was this great little scene, and I was like, and I loved Californication.
Yeah, it was a good show. So, I watched it too. So
and so I was just like, this is going to be amazing. And that was actually the first time I ever learned that you sadly don't talk too much about what's about to come out just in case.
So because you're excited, you're talking about I'm going to Californication this season. I'm on episode 2 or whatever 3.
Yeah.
You're like giving everything out, and then
people watching, they're like, I didn't see you. And you're like, oh, that's because I did not make it.
Right. People do get cut.
They do, yeah. And that's an interesting thing because they not only did I get cut from the show, but they like killed my IMDb credit. You no longer get residuals because you didn't actually make an appearance.
Oh, right.
So it's like it's a pretty big blow.
So I mean, how did you handle the first couple of times of rejection? Do you remember? Because it's an obviously thing in our business. Just it is what it is. But how did you start to kind of, and how have you since learn to cope with that kind of stuff?
I think, I mean, like bringing that all the way back around to your first question, I think that's where the Masters in Business helped out because I knew it wasn't personal. Like it's business.
Yeah.
Like they're not rejecting, well, I hope they're not rejecting you as a person. They're just saying like, for whatever, I mean, like the length of Californication, it was 15 minutes too long. We had to cut stuff. They're like, so you got cut. It's unfortunate, but it wasn't like we don't like you. And so a lot of times I do very much try to keep the business aspect very separate than my personal emotions. So that way I can get excited about things, but I'm not so excited that when something doesn't work out, I get crushed. Because this would be an exhausting business to be in if you always rode the wave all the way up, and then when it crashes, rode it all the way down. So I try to stay like, my girlfriend always calls me very even-keeled, and so I try to stay like right in the middle. Like I'll let myself get excited. Even when I booked the Ted Sorensen role for LBJ, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to work with Rob Reiner and Woody Harrelson. And I booked in July, and I wasn't shooting until October.
Okay.
And so I had to just sit there for months and not tell everybody, not get excited, and not just be like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever.
Right.
And even now, I still have to contain my excitement because you never know what's going to happen.
Right. So now we'll talk about that. Let's go right into that right now. So I'm going to go back to the TV stuff. So you shot this film. You played Ted Sorensen, who was
the speechwriter for Kennedy.
That's right, for Kennedy.
Yeah, and then when Kennedy gets assassinated, then LBJ comes and tries to recruit him to write his speech. And I feel like this isn't a spoiler, but because it did happen. It's history. But he ends up writing LBJ's opening speech after Kennedy's assassination, the very first speech he ever gives.
Well, congratulations for getting the role. I mean, that's great. This is a big time film.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, it was the one time that my agents and manager, they were like, "Listen, you can get excited. This is a big deal." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, I just didn't want to get too excited. I was like, "This is a big deal." And they're like, "Yeah, it's a big deal." And
so when you did the audition for it, did you tape something? Did you go in? Did you meet Rob Reiner first? I mean, how did that work?
So I made a really, really good friend, Jeremy Gordon. He's a casting director. We have been friends for probably 6 or 7 years now.
Good.
And he is like my number 1 fan and also like one of my greatest friends. And so every time he sees a project that I'm even remotely right for, he's like,
good.
Brent Bailey is your guy.
Good.
So he was the casting assistant for Jane Jenkins.
Oh, okay.
And so this project came across the table, and he was like, Brent Bailey, this guy will be great. And so I went in, read for Jane and Jeremy.
Okay.
Jeremy texted me after, and he's like, hey, you did great. You're going to have a call back. And I was like, okay, cool.
Good.
And then he texted me the next day, and he's like, don't freak out, but Rob Reiner will be in the room for your callback. And I was like,
Oh, okay, I'll be fine.
yeah, I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Okay.
So I show up, and you never know. Like, I mean, especially like a guy at Rob Reiner's level.
Yeah,
he's made so many amazing movies.
Yeah.
He's got so much talent. And so I walked in the room not really knowing how he was going to be, and he was the nicest guy.
Okay.
He stood up from his chair, he walked across the room, shook my hand, which is usually a little bit weird.
Yeah,
Westerners.
right.
Yeah, shook my hand, sat down. He's like, he's and he's got this most wonderful voice. But he was like, do you have any questions? And I was like, no. I was like, same thing as last time, right? And he like laughed. He's like, yeah, let's do it. And so I did it, and he was just like, that was great. He's like, you even look like him. And I was like, wow. These are good things, right?
These are great things.
He's
okay,
like, yeah.
Right.
And he's like, I don't even need to see it again. And I was like,
wow.
Cool. So I left, and then it was like a week or two after I found out I booked it.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, it's always better when the room is positive. Sometimes you walk into very cold rooms. And,
So you do. So we're just like staring at you and go, okay, go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or they're not even looking at you. They're on their computers. They're like,
Oh, there is that too. I had a few of those.
Yeah.
I had a few of those. I tried being an actor for a minute.
yeah.
It's I'll be a host instead.
Hey, hosting's hard.
I love it.
Hosting's real hard.
I love it. I love it. I'll be an interviewer. I'll be behind the scenes. That's fine. I won't deal with that. And so now you were in obviously makeup and for this movie you had to go into makeup and period piece. And how was that?
It was fun. It was a lot of fun actually because I typically don't shave just because not necessarily out of like laziness or anything, but usually when you're auditioning they like to have the option to change you. And so if you have a beard, they're like, okay, we like this, but we also know that we can clean shave you. So it was really interesting to be clean shaven for a straight month while I was shooting, and then like my hair was all different, like coiffed over, and like I was wearing suits every day, and something about like wearing suits and ties just makes me always feel good. So
the inner businessman is in there. That's
exactly.
why.
Yeah, my inner businessman. Yeah, like the inner
businessman.
The inner Mr. Knightley is like, yes, a shirt and tie. So yeah, it was such a cool experience to kind of step into another person's shoes every day for 5 weeks.
Now, how was it doing? Because before other projects you've done, you're playing a character that something's created by a writer. You're portraying someone who is for real.
Yeah.
So what challenges, or was it easy, or what was it for you in doing that?
It was a little bit more pressure because obviously you do have people that will look at the performance and compare you to the real guy. But at the same point, not a whole lot of people are really, really familiar with Ted Sorensen. So it wasn't he was like a figure to where it was like LBJ.
Yeah, right.
Where people are going to be like critiquing Woody and saying like, you did this or didn't do that. So for me, I feel like I had a lot less pressure.
Okay.
And I also felt like I could kind of just bring myself to the role because most of the stuff that I watched with him, like all of his YouTube stuff and his books and everything, it was written from his life later.
Oh, okay.
And so it didn't really give me too much of an insight of what he was when this was actually happening, because he was 32 when this was happening.
Yeah, that's kind of young, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, great. Well, I'm just going to play it how I think he would have been, and bring across like his characteristics that I know, like his moral beliefs and his values, and how he is very conservative, and he is fairly quiet, and he doesn't like a lot of attention. I was like, I'm gonna go that route. So I'm always just kind of I took like the general essence of him, but then brought myself to it, and that's kind of what I did with Mr. Knightley too, because. Even though Mr. Knightley was from a Jane Austen book, it's been done so many times now that you can't help but watch other people. And
you can't. It's inevitable.
And so I walked into it only thinking about Paul Rudd because I adore Paul Rudd, and I was like,
he's great.
I was like, well, Paul Rudd he's done the best Mr. Knightley in Clueless, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to follow that up. And so I was like, well, if I'm going to steal from anybody, I'm going to steal from Paul Rudd because he's a genius.
Yes.
So I like mixed Paul Rudd and myself, and then brought my own character to that too. But it was a little bit of a similar situation where, because the fans of the show had Mr. Knightley in their minds.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like they had already, even just from reading the book, you already have created this mental image.
Of course, yeah.
So it was similar. Actually, it was probably even more pressure to be Mr. Knightley than it was to be Ted Sorensen, because Mr. Knightley is so much more well known.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
They think of it that way. Wow. And so you shot for a month? With the LBJ thing?
LBJ, I shot for 5 weeks in New Orleans.
Oh, New Orleans.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there before? Was it your first time?
I've been there for a 24-hour period of time for a film festival for a movie I did called Republic of Two.
Okay.
And so I literally only had 24 hours of experience there. Which was an amazing 24 hours.
Yeah, it's New Orleans. I've been there many times. I know how it is. Yes, I could be.
But 5 weeks of being in New Orleans, you definitely have to pace yourself on everything, because there's so much good food. And
I will tell you.
So much entertainment and music. And it's just...
the food.
You could really just go out of control.
I want some gumbo right now, kids. Yeah. Gumbo right now.
The charbroiled oysters were my favorite.
Sounds good too.
It's so good.
I know. My family's from Louisiana, so I totally am just like,
I
need to go down there and get some shrimp etouffee or something. Oh my God. Beignets, even for breakfast.
Yep.
Oh my God. I'm getting hungry.
Yep.
Crazy. So now, now I'll just go because your career is all over the place and in a great way. Back to the web series.
Yeah.
So how'd you get involved with that?
So the interesting thing about the web series is Bernie Sue and the casting director for that was Jenny Powell. They had brought me in for the Pemberley family when they were doing the Lizzie Bennet Diaries.
Okay.
So I actually auditioned to be Darcy, and then I auditioned to be Wickham. So they knew that they liked me. They knew that they thought I was good, but they just couldn't quite find the role that they thought was for me.
Okay.
So when I finally went in on the nightly auditions, that I was like, please let this be it, because I feel like I keep putting so much energy into the same thing, and like I know they like me. Just let me find the right role. And so when I got the nightly sides, I was like, this one is it. Like I know that this is the role. So I went in, and I think that took so much pressure off of the audition that I did just get to go in and have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And so it was actually like a fairly easy audition process. I think I did the first read, and then I did a callback, and then I did the chemistry reads with Joanna.
Okay.
And I was the first guy that they saw in the chemistry reads, and I think it was just like...
You have a look, like this look right here, kind of makes me think you could be British.
Oh, okay.
You could be...
I do a terrible British accent.
You do.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, it's like,
I have a really close British friend, and it's almost insulting to her when I try.
But just looking at you, I can see it kind of. I can see I can see a regalness in you. You could play that. I can see that easily.
I like that. Thank you.
So tell folks about the show, and so if they haven't heard about it, don't know anything about it, because I heard of it before, but if no one else knows about it, can you talk about a little about what the show's about?
Emma Approved.
Emma Approved, yes.
Well, Emma Approved is a modern day adaptation of Jane Austen's Emma. So basically, I mean, we've all seen, like, Clueless was a modern day adaptation. Yes. Now we've taken it and turned it into a web format with Joanna Sotomoro playing Emma, and we are set in a business environment where I'm her business partner. And then, Harriet comes in as, like, the quirky assistant. We have Brent Isaacs that comes in as the love interest for her, and it's just it's a vlog format show, so we're always talking similar to this with a camera here. We just acknowledge the camera a lot more, and it's very interactive, which is what we won the Emmy for. Is the interactivity.
I mean that's great. So you were there at night when you guys won.
Yeah,
how exciting was that?
That was one of the most stressful days of my life.
I was thinking because I mean I'm sure being nominated is great, of course. You guys are the whole show. You guys are all excited, but there's possibility you won't win.
No.
There's a possibility you will win, too.
No, we knew we won.
Oh, so you knew you won beforehand?
Yeah, they did let us know that we won.
Oh, they did?
Because for the creatives, they do let you know. Yeah, the creative Emmys.
Oh, so you all show up and, okay.
So you just kind of show up. But the reason it was stressful is because my best friend was getting married that day. And so I was like, oh, no. And I was the best man.
Okay, wow. Okay, so how'd you do this?
So the Emmys red carpet started at, I think it was like 2 or 2:30. And that was in downtown Los Angeles.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go there. I'm going to do the red carpet from 2 to 4.
Okay,
The wedding starts at 5.
Okay.
In
and where's the wedding
Palos Verdes. South.
That's past me. I live near LAX. That's past me. Wow.
Like way south.
I know.
And so I did the red carpet. I didn't even get to go to the actual award show. So I didn't get to go on stage.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get to accept the Emmy. Everybody else did. That was super sad. So I left, went to the wedding, did everything. As soon as I got done with my best man speech, I gave everybody hugs, and I had to drive back to LA for the ball.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then we did the ball, and the ball was beautiful, and amazing, and wonderful. Yeah. And then from then on, it was easy because then it was dancing and hanging out. And
you as an organizer, I'm proud of you. You time managed it. You did it.
Yep. I signed up for the fast track lane. I got my little transponder, so I wasn't gonna get a ticket. I was ready to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So no, that would be stressful. Just the travel part, because this is LA.
Right.
If you're not from LA, folks, I mean, it's crazy.
You never know what's going to happen on the freeway.
You never know.
I mean, you could literally not move.
Now, you see, I know this is a show about him, but right now I'm thinking, okay, how do you get there? Do you do the 110 to the... This
is like the Californians on like SNL. It's like, I took the 110
to the 105, the 105 to 710. I'm like trying to think, how did he get to... Because Palos Verdes is not really off any freeway.
No.
It's the peninsula. It's way down the peninsula down there.
Yeah, I don't even remember exactly how it was, but I took the 110 down to a different freeway, like past Palos Verdes, and then wrapped back around.
Oh, came back up. Okay.
Because that was the faster route. Because otherwise, you have to get off and do all those side streets through the mountains.
I know. It's beautiful down there. I mean,
gorgeous.
Rolling Hills Estates, it's all beautiful down there. That's so fun. I'm proud of you. You did that.
Thank you.
You did that. So I was talking. How do you feel about this? Are you doing any more seasons of it, first of all, or is it just the one self-contained?
It is still to be determined.
Okay.
Definitely after the Emmy, we got a lot more buzz, and so I don't know what I'm actually allowed to say about it, but I'm going to say whatever I think I can, and hopefully I don't get in trouble later. But I think the goal is right now that everybody is on board to do another season. It's just a matter of if we get a network or somebody to sponsor us. and I think they will also shift it from being vlog to single camera.
Okay.
So that way we would kind of just, because we want to do, Bernie is a genius, and once he's done one thing, then he's like, well, we've done that, so let's do something a little different. And so now I think he wants to take Emma and turn it into more like a Parks and Rec or The Office, where like we would have a camera crew following us around.
How great is the web? I mean, how great is this kind of? You could do these kinds of shows that are getting recognized.
Yeah,
I work in soaps, and I mean these soaps shows on webs like there's Beacon Hill and Winterthorne and The Bay in Venice. There's all these. I mean, there's all these great series out there on the web.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's definitely opened up a whole new platform for people to just be creative and let their content be seen, which is great because it gives so many more people voices that never would have had access to it.
Very true. And how long is each episode?
Each episode varies from, I think it's like the shortest one is right around like 3 minutes, and the longest one's I think right around like 8.5. And it just kind of depends on what was in the story on that particular episode and how long we went.
How is it acting in a shorter time span? Because you treat it like just a scene. I mean, like you do. I mean, how do you adjust?
The shooting schedule was insane.
It was crazy.
It was similar to a soap. I feel more for the soap people because they do it on a daily basis. Yeah. We shot 1 weekend a month. So we shot Saturday and Sunday, and we shot anywhere from like 66 pages to one time we almost shot 100.
That's soaps.
Yeah, so we were on average around 45 pages a day of straight dialogue.
Wow.
And the hard part about the vlog format is there's no camera setups, there's no lighting changes.
Oh.
So you go like,
and
you're like, cool, that one's done. Let's go to the next one. So it's not like where you're like, oh, okay, I don't know the next scene. We got 30 minutes for them to set up the stage. It's just like, no, the next scene's now.
Now, right.
So,
scene 535's A, go.
Yeah.
Right.
But they had a really, really good format down. I mean, we had a bunch of scripties that sat there, like the producers were watching to make sure we get the lines right. And they did like this line technique to make sure like if we got through the take completely, they had different colors for every take. So as long as they had 2 different full takes of a color, we were good.
Okay.
And then, I mean, for me, it was easy because I got to come in and come out. For Joanna, I mean, she was doing like straight down the barrel monologues.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I don't know how she did it because she was in every scene.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, I think there might be 1 or 2 scenes where it's like Harriet and
you go, Joanna.
Yeah. Oh, she was
That's
amazing. I don't know how she did it.
Now, so obviously that part of the muscle of your brain must be really strong.
That's the funny thing.
Like soaps,
yeah,
really strong.
Yeah, and I do think it's like anything else. If you stop doing it, then it kind of goes away a little bit more. But man, when we were on that show, it was interesting to see like week 4, week 5, or month 4, 5, 6. Like as we got further and further into it, it was like, wow, I can memorize really fast now. Mm-hmm. But now, I mean, that show's been over for I think a year or so. So I'm back to like, I mean, I can memorize pretty quick.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I can memorize pretty quick, but not nearly as fast as I could when we were actively shooting it every month.
I have a feeling though, if it does come in for a second season, then when you get back, you'll be right back to it again.
Well, if it does come back for the second season, when you go to the single camera format, it'll slow everything down.
Okay,
so it'll make it actually much more manageable.
That's a good experience for you.
Yeah, it was great.
You could do a soap.
I've auditioned for soaps.
Ooh, which ones?
I've auditioned for almost all of them. Like Bold and Beautiful, Young and Restless.
Did you do General Hospital Days of Our Lives?
I auditioned for both of them. Yeah.
Oh
it was just one of those things where we didn't quite find the right role again. But there's a couple different casting directors that have continuously brought me in to see which ones.
I know Mark Tessner at GH. He's a great guy. Great guy.
Yeah.
Great, beautiful, great guy.
He is amazing.
And he will remember you. He's one of those people, if he likes you, he'll remember you.
It's very much true.
That's very true.
And he's very talented. So he was one of the guys where when I was auditioning for him, he had very specific notes. Like, hey, do this, this, and this. Because he knew what it was they were looking for. And he also had like the acting side of it down. Mm-hmm. Whereas it wasn't like he was just kind of watching to see if you could bring it. He was like, no, I'll help you bring it. Which is really helpful in a casting room.
Now, I just want to talk about what is one piece of advice, because this leads into something that I always like to ask people, that you were given that serves you well to this day.
Oh man, like for life?
Well, make you think.
Life or for acting?
Well, either life or both. I mean, it could be intertwined. It could be just something. You got some good advice. You came to LA and someone gave you some really good advice that just really works for you on either a daily basis or a weekly basis or.
There was one thing that, and it was weird because it was actually before I got into acting, and I didn't understand it at all when I first heard it. And it's kind of a weird person to quote, but Jessica Alba was in an interview, and somebody said like, "What's your best piece of advice for an actor?" And she said, "If there's anything else in the world that you want to do that." And I was like, why would she say that? Like, she's crushing dreams. But I
get it.
But now being in the business for 10 years, I completely get it because it's such a difficult industry that it can be crushing. So I think that my advice would be do it because you love it and do it for the right reasons. Don't get into acting because you want to be famous, because the chances of becoming famous are very small.
Are minuscule.
Yeah, and don't even get into it because you want to be rich, because the chances of being rich are very small.
Yeah, no, they are. Right.
So you got to really get into it because you love it. And I mean, I think for me that was the most important thing, was figuring out what it was that I loved in life, and then doing that, because life is short.
It goes by fast.
Yeah.
I'm saying I may not look it, but I'm kind of old. It goes by really fast. It goes by really fast. I'm a grandfather. It's kind of crazy.
Really?
I am.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. My gray's coming in my beard.
It's distinguished.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like it.
You come back anytime. You said that. So let's talk about your TV work, because you've done episodic TV. You've been guests on TV. The one I saw, you end up being dead.
I know. My mom hated that.
You were a good dead person.
I loved it. It was really entertaining. We actually had a stunt guy that was there that was ready to do the thing. I was like, no. I wanted,
So they had a stunt guy for you
to get choked out.
That's so funny.
Because when that thing comes over, it is kind of sketchy. Like I did have to make sure I got a hand in there, otherwise it really is choking.
Oh, okay.
So we had to do. It was very choreographed, where I had to be on the phone, and then we had shot. I don't remember her name. I'm a terrible person, but the girl that plays my love interest in that show, we'd shot her side first, and on that scene, it's intercut between the two of us.
Yeah, I remember. Okay.
So you can't cut back and forth. So you just have to hope that the timing from the earlier shoot matches the timing from this one.
Got it.
So I had to walk down the sidewalk with a specific time, and then know at that one line he was going to come over to choke me. So I had to make sure I got the phone out so that the whatever they call it, we'll call it a rope.
Yeah, a rope.
So the rope could come over, and then I had to make sure I got one hand up to keep it from choking me. And then we had to struggle. I had to drop the phone in a specific place. The camera pans down. I had to make sure I stepped on it and twisted.
Right.
So my phone got broken.
Yeah.
And then lay down on the ground and then do the kicks part.
Yes, I kind of chuckled on that one.
And then you had to
like
you little twitch. And then it was over.
I kind of chuckled when I saw the little gigs.
The hardest thing I've ever had to do was later in that episode when I have to play dead on the table.
Oh yeah. Okay, why?
Because you can't breathe.
Oh yeah,
and your eyes can't move. And I never knew how much my eyes contiguously are moving as my eyelids are closed. No idea. And the director was like, "Your eyes are still moving." And I was like, "Oh no, really?" He's like, "Yeah, stop." And I was like, I can't. I don't know how. I don't know how to. And so they just kind of worked around it.
Yeah.
But
that's actually interesting. I'm thinking about how do you, because you can't have anything go up and down.
And it's a couple minute scene, so you have to slowly breathe through your stomach.
And you can't react to anybody's stuff in your scene either.
No, you're dead. You can't move. Yeah, you cannot move. It's very, very difficult to play dead. Yeah,
that's good to know. But I saw you die. I was like, oh, he's dying. Oh, okay, that's like, but you did well, dead.
Yeah,
so you did, that was Criminal Minds. You also did. I have to make sure I get these kind of correct. You also did stuff like Rizzoli and Isles. Mm-hmm. Obviously, what did you play on that one?
So I was just a character that came in. And this is when my publicist brother looks at me and says, "You need to learn people's names."
It's okay. Just you're on and
well, the woman that's fantastic. I want to say her name is Angela, but I could be
Angie Harmon. The lead, one of the leads.
The one that plays her mom.
Oh, her mom. Oh, I forgot her name too, actually.
So I came in and I had a conversation with her, and she overhears me talking on the cell phone about to be proposing to my girlfriend.
Okay.
And I'm like, she's like, "What's your plan?" And then I tell her what my plan is, and she's like, "That's an awful plan." And so she gives me a whole new plan, and then from that I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this lady has such great advice," that I actually go back to my work. I get one of my buddies that's about to propose to bring him back to talk to her.
Oh, how funny.
But she's not there. And then we run into the guy that actually owns the bar, and he's like also an amazing actor who I'm blanking on his name, but he does one of those things where he's like, dude, what are you looking for? Like, I could give you advice. And he's been married and divorced a few times. And so you're like, maybe not so much. I'm going to go ahead and pass on that.
Hello to Tanya Hayes, and hello to CJ Rocky's 9.
Hello.
They're on. We have people watching. They're on. No, they're just... Well, Tanya Hayes is something about radio works the same way. I don't know what that means. Tell me what that means. I don't know what that means. That's her comment. No,
I was like, I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means either. I'm like, you tell me what it means. But she's like, radio works the same way. I don't know what... It's something we said that she's commenting on.
She's probably like, thinking of people's names is very hard.
Oh, but that's what it is, Tanya, right? You support him.
Yes.
That's fine. So... It's funny. So your agent gets you these different projects. So you're looking at going, okay, there's commercials, TV, web series. Mm-hmm. Is there one, I'm not going to say is there one you like better, but it's just one that you really find yourself kind of gravitating towards more these days now that you're doing a lot more work?
Well, it depends. Obviously features are a lot of fun, but there is something to be said about having to be on location and living out of a hotel for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It's really fun and really amazing, but I do want a family and I want kids and stuff, and so that would be really hard. So I think I would like to find a home. If I could pick anything in the whole world, I would do sitcom on TV.
Oh, okay,
it would be here in Los Angeles.
I can see you totally in a sitcom.
Yeah, like something, like if we could bring back Friends, and I would love to be on Friends, but like the current stuff like Baby Daddy, I would love to be on that show. Any of those. I mean, I worked on Whitney. That was an awesome experience.
Good.
So I'd like to do that. And in the meantime, until then, commercials are great because they keep your bank account full. They're really fun because you get to do random stuff for 1 or 2 days out of the month. Yeah. And so it's good, consistent work. And then in the meantime, when you're not doing commercials, you're auditioning for TV shows and movies. But I think I'd eventually my end goal is to do sitcom.
Very good. I guess I can see you on a sitcom.
Yeah. Or even like The Office. If I could play Jim Halpert, John Krasinski on The Office, that would have been.
I could totally see it.
Yeah, it would have been like a dream.
Completely see it. So, do you miss Tucson, Arizona?
I don't even really remember Tucson.
Because now it's like so many years now.
Well, I was born in Tucson, but I moved away from Tucson when I was 5 years old.
Okay.
And then I lived in Texas for 5 years.
Oh, Texas. Okay.
And then I was in Houston and Austin.
Ooh, two great cities.
Yeah, great. But I moved away from there eventually. I think it was 11 when I moved back to Scottsdale, Arizona.
Oh, Scottsdale. Okay, Scottsdale.
Yeah. And so I grew up in Scottsdale, and then I moved out here right as I turned 22.
Okay.
Because I was at the end of my grad school run.
Okay.
I graduated from grad school right before I turned 22. And so that's right when I had the little crisis. Yeah. I think it was also because I had been working so hard to go through school and everything that when I was all done, I didn't have anything to distract me. Then I was like, oh no, panic time. So, but yeah, I miss Scottsdale because my sister's there with her husband, and I have like an awesome nephew and niece. So I miss them. I don't get to be in their lives as much as I would like to.
But luckily, you're not too far away. You're not too far away.
Yeah, we're not too far away, so we get to see each other from time to time. And my parents are still there. Thankfully, they have a house down here too. So
that's good.
I see them pretty frequently.
That's good.
But I definitely miss the house prices in Arizona.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, like in California, it's a little expensive.
Yeah, my house out here, if I sold it and took the money from my house here, I could buy the biggest mansion in Arizona.
Oh, exactly.
It'd be so wonderful.
With land.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in a view of the city, like a negative edge pool, like a movie theater in my room. It'd be great.
Tanya Hayes says, meaning you have to love it.
Oh yeah,
and I agree because I do radio and TV, so I love both of those.
Well, I think I think Tanya's got a good point that it's universal. You have to love anything you do. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable. I mean, work takes up the majority of your life, and then the rest of it's sleeping, and then you've got like this little section of time where it's like free time.
Right.
So you've got to really enjoy what you do. Otherwise, it kind of it's just too much of your life to not enjoy it.
That's a great line. I like that.
Yeah.
It's much of your life because it just, and as I say, it goes by so fast.
Yeah.
You wake up, you're 50, 60 years old, going, what did I do?
Right.
What's going on? Yeah. Or I hate my job. Mm-hmm. I have so many friends who are like, I got to change, which is never too late to change your life. It's never too late.
No. I mean, especially like in this day and age. I mean, there's just endless opportunities to really pack up and go and just try something out.
Yeah. There's a big world out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's out there for all of us to grab at.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So do you remember your first TV role that you got to guest on?
I do. It was for Life with Damian Lewis.
Yeah, I remember that show. Yeah, before he went on later, of course, to Homeland fame.
Yeah.
I like that show, actually.
I think it went through 2 seasons before it ended up getting canceled. But yeah, I booked a role on there of a character named Andy Diller. Mm-hmm. And when I walked in, I had super long, shaggy hair. It was like kind of like a Justin Bieber cut.
Really?
Yeah.
Funny.
It was
I can't even picture it right now. I can't even picture it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's pictures out there somewhere, right?
Oh yeah, there's definitely pictures. But yeah, I walked in and I was auditioning for this Marine on leave. And so I had this long hair, and since it was my first job, I was thinking like, when are they going to do this? This is weird. So I booked the job. They didn't say anything about getting my hair cut.
Okay.
And I show up to the first day of set, and they go, we're cutting your hair, right? And I was like, I assumed if I'm on leave, I got to get a haircut. But then I was like, I don't know how long I've been on leave, so maybe it's not going to be too short. And so they said, okay. And I go, well, my manager just said, try not to go too short. And she goes, okay. And then...
You do whatever they want, obviously.
Before I knew it, I had it high and tight.
How did it look?
I actually really liked it. Yeah, I really liked it. It did kind of, pigeonhole me for specific roles. For
I'm sure for a while,
3 to 6 months.
Yes.
But yeah, I worked on that show, and it was an awesome experience. It was like the first time being on a professional TV set for a network.
Yeah.
And that was, it was great. I thankfully stayed in the episode. I had a bunch of scenes, and so I had like a party at my house, and it was like, I did the smart thing. I was like, this is a housewarming, but my show is also going beyond.
Very good. You learned.
So just in case.
Yeah, you learned.
And yeah, we sat there and watched it, and it was like a really proud moment. And my parents called me, and they were very excited, and I was super excited. And
Can you watch yourself?
Yeah, I don't have...
Some people can't watch themselves.
Yeah, I think... For me personally, I think it would be a disservice to not watch myself because
I agree.
Because I gotta see, like, I mean, I can look at it with the like what's working, what's not. It's not like I'm watching it being like, oh man, like gosh, I love myself. I'm watching
I'm
it,
so beautiful.
Yeah. I watch it for like constructive
Yeah.
Opinions of myself. So I can be like, okay, that worked and that didn't. Like I could tell I'm lying there, or I shouldn't do that weird thing with my face. And so I like to watch it because you do get to see like where you need to grow still.
I agree.
And it's kind of like a. You know, it's like anything else. You don't like do. I guess that's going to be a terrible example, but I was going to be like, you don't turn in a presentation that you've never read. But
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, you got to make sure like you're doing a good job.
I know for me, I watch myself, and I like it because you kind of see things because the camera doesn't lie. That's what I learned.
Yeah,
it really doesn't. The camera does show whatever you're feeling. It does come through.
Right. Which it's
a very interesting thing, and I was told that. They say be truthful to the camera, be true to yourself, and be true to them, and I see it.
Right.
And I guess in acting especially, you got to be true to whatever that character is, how you're feeling. It all comes out in the wash, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. And then what was your first? Did we tell you commercial already?
My first commercial was Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
What'd you do in Taco Bell?
I partied in an elevator, so I had the long hair in that too. Actually, it was for a queso crunch wrap, and I walk in and Jason Blair, who's actually been doing amazing lately. He was on New Normal, and he's on Young and Hungry now.
Oh, yeah.
He walks in with a queso crunch wrap, and I am like standing there in like this little business attire, and I look over and I'm like, like, is there queso in that crunch wrap? And he's like, yeah. I'm like cheesy, spicy party queso? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh man, it looks delicious. And then the guy next to him, whose name is, I think, Jeremy, takes a bite of it. I'm like, oh. And then that's it. And it ends. But that was my first experience to commercials, and we were in an elevator. And it took us 13 hours to shoot.
Oh my God.
And we did a variation, which I then learned you don't ever do this, but where I was like, we kind of went into a little improv land. And so after Jeremy bit it, I was like, well, this would be funny. And I was like, I'm going to bite it. And so
that's so funny.
And then they were like, that's super funny. Keep doing that.
Okay.
And so I was swallowing it.
Yeah, you don't do that. You don't eat the food.
Nobody tells you that there's a spit bucket for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's funny is at the very beginning, the guy did walk up to me and say, like, do you want a spit bucket? And I was like, I don't even know what that is. What would I do with a spit bucket? And so I didn't have it. And then like halfway through, I understood. And I was like, bring the bucket.
Yeah, because you're ready to go anyway. Like,
yeah, because it's queso cheese and hot sauce.
But after 13 hours of queso cheese and hot sauce,
it's too much.
It's just a little too much. You have a good point. In being an actor, having to change your looks, how do you deal with that? I mean, for roles, and you have to. You have to get rid of all the vanity, I guess, and ego, right? Or how does that work for you?
Yeah. I mean, like, change your looks in aspects of, like...
you get a role, and they say, we want you to shave your head.
Oh.
We get a role, we want you to take off the beard. Like, we're all thinking, I don't look good without a beard. Like, you have to get rid of that, right?
Yeah.
When you do
I just get excited about it. I'm like, we're going to shave my head? Great. Like, let's shave it. I mean, now, I was nervous that first time, but yeah, and then if they're like, you're going to shave your face, it's like, awesome. Like, I'm not attached to anything that's, like, physically. I mean, if they were like, you got to shave your eyebrows, I'd be like, oh, well...
For the right role, and if Rob Reiner told you, you'd do it, wouldn't you?
I would probably.
Shave them now.
Yeah.
Take them all off. Steven Spielberg takes you shave it all off, wouldn't you, in a second? Okay, I'll do it myself.
Realistically, you would. Because, what an awesome experience to be able to literally transform yourself into a completely different person that not even you recognize for, like, a project. Because then you get to go back and watch it. I mean, your eyebrows will grow back. Your hair will grow back. Like,
right, hopefully.
I did see, I think it was Shia LaBeouf for that movie Fury that he did with Brad Pitt. He was supposed to have a scar on his face, and I don't know if this was true or not, but I read somewhere that he actually took like a piece of glass or something and cut himself to create the scar.
Oh my God!
And I think that's taken it to a whole other
that's
level.
Something else. Yeah, that is something else.
Yeah, so I don't know if I could take it that far.
Yes,
I'm not.
Would you gain weight for a role?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah.
I would gain weight, lose weight, all that stuff within a healthy limit.
Yeah, okay.
I do think that some of the people that do like the drastic fluctuation with their weight, I do worry that takes a toll on.
Well, some have had problems. We've seen some that have had problems with that, of course.
Well, even like Chris Hemsworth was saying, like, he has major back problems from being Thor because you have to maintain so much muscle mass that it's just not natural.
Yeah.
So when he's not doing it, he had a hilarious cameo in that new National Lampoon's Vacation movie.
Oh, okay.
And you can tell he's very small, but he's still really shredded.
Yeah, sure.
But you can tell, like, he loses it in between because it's just that you have to be with such a strict diet and so much of the gym and like your body, I think it takes a major toll.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's crazy. Is there anything, because you can tell the fans, casting directors, whoever.
Yeah.
Is there anything on your wish list you'd like to do in terms of acting? You'd love to put out to the universe. I say put things out to the universe. Speak it out to the universe.
Oh man, wow, that's. I mean, there's so many things.
Yeah, say something. Yes. What would you like to do? Besides a sitcom, we got that.
Yeah, if I don't do a sitcom, I'm like a super sappy romantic.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like if I could do a movie like The Notebook, I'd be super excited.
Okay.
Like Ashton Kutcher's career, I actually would
admire
love to have.
Okay.
Like, I love those lighthearted comedies that at the end of the movie they fall in love, because the world is already so like hard as it is, that I love being able to walk into a movie where I can just escape reality for a while and be like, cool, anything's possible. You know, obviously in the third act there's always the depressing moment, but then they come back and then it's wonderful and like everybody lives happily ever after. So I'd love to do romantic comedies. Like Ryan Reynolds, I think has been great. Ashton Kutcher. They all have these fun movies that they can go. You can tell they're having a good time on it, and then it also is just a lot of fun for people to watch in the movie theater.
It's like comfort food, I always say.
Yeah,
we like comfort food. We like to have some stew every once in a while, or some mashed potatoes and gravy,
or like even like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Like I love that movie. So I would love to do those types of movies, and I think I'm finally getting into that age where it's possible.
Okay, I see that. Yes,
because I think you got to really be in your 30s to get those, because then you're, I think, you have a bigger appeal. Right. Or like mass appeal.
More broad.
Yeah.
The more broad appeal,
Yeah. So yeah, I think that would be my ideal, is to do a sitcom on a regular basis, and then when I'm on hiatus from that, go do romantic comedies.
See, career's ready. He's ready, kids.
Yeah,
that's his career. We already got it set up for you.
We do. And then to do like a funny, like be a spokesperson for a commercial, like just a one funny gag.
That goes on for a while.
Goes on.
Like Activia for Jamie Lee Curtis, or Flow for Progressive or whatever.
Yeah, just to have that one. I mean, like even Sheldon from Big Bang Theory is now, he's got that funny bit that he does for, I think it's the bank commercial.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah.
So it'd be great to have like an ongoing show where you can do movies in your free time, and then you also have a commercial campaign. Be great.
I like that. I want to build an empire for you.
Let's do it.
I'm like you. I think you got it all. We got it all set up. We're ready.
I love it.
So you spoke out to the world. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
for you.
power of the secret, right there. You just gotta put it out there.
Exactly. I believe it completely. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Are we done?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I could talk to you for more. I mean, I got more notes. I'm like, it's time.
Did we get any quick questions just in case? If we
comments. People are watching. They're giving thumbs up, and people are just commenting. Just like
cool.
saying, one person says, "Subscribe to me."
Nice.
CJ Rocky's 9.
It's a good time to promote for him. Subscribe to him. CJ
Rocky's 9.
CJ Rocky's 9. Subscribe to him.
Yeah, subscribe to him. Okay,
yeah.
that's all.
I don't know what you're gonna find. It could be amazing. It could be something you don't want to watch. Yeah.
So once again, tell the folks where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. All of them are at Brent M. Bailey. And then you can watch the show Emma Approved. It's on YouTube. On Pemberley Digital's channel. And then you can catch me in the upcoming movie with Rob Reiner directing, Woody Harrelson starring, and that is called LBJ. Hopefully out in 2016, but maybe 2017.
Okay, that's good to know.
We'll see. Yeah.
And of course you can follow me, and I will always have his stuff on my page. We'll continue following up with him and seeing what's going on with you. Of course.
I'd love to come back.
And so you can come back at any time, of course.
Cool.
And you can find me James Lott Jr. on Facebook, Black Hope LA on Twitter, L Black Hope on Instagram. All the Black Hopes, I took them all. And then of course I have my radio show every Friday morning on AdrenalineRadio.com, the Super Organizer Radio Universe Radio Show. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.